Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Shotzzy responds to Scrap over all this gentleman's agreement drama over the last several days, especially Scrap's opinion on the sniper rifle. Shotzzy disagrees for many a different reason, but also we had some scrims going down last night. All of the FaZe guys were streaming their perspective. Couple of big results went their way. If you want to throw to your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. I hope everyone had a fantastic day yesterday. Plenty to get into. Wanted to start here really because, well, Taylor says, which CDL team will have the biggest fan base next year? Now, okay, the answer is relatively straightforward from a COD perspective. It's obviously going to be OpTic, but if you do look at the other teams, it gets pretty interesting because, look, Thieves, of course, they've got a pretty big fan base. The same story with FaZe. Maybe Falcons as well to some degree. The real competition, I would say, is the Gentlemates, right? And it's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out this season. It always catches me a little off guard just how engaged and dedicated those fans are. Because, for example, Envoy yesterday, he turned the stream on and he's like, gentle question mark, and he just tweeted this out. Now, if you know Twitter and everything, if you put a link in the tweet, it just doesn't get anywhere near the level of interactions and exposure and all of this because Twitter doesn't want you to leave the, okay, x.com, they don't want you to leave the platform, right? So the tweet only got, 50,000 views, but it got like 3,000 likes, just easy. You look at the replies, the Gentlemates fans are here for it, right? So I think there was some discussion when Gentlemates first came around, they were looking at Lins, they wanted a little bit of French exposure, I guess. That's not the case with this team, but the team, could be pretty damn good, and you're seeing that fan base in true force. So I think the Paris event this season is going to be pretty great. We saw what it was like in Madrid last year, and hopefully the team lives up to some of the expectations as well, because clearly the potential is there in this team. Whether they can deliver on it and keep everything together as the season goes on, I'm sure there are going to be some storylines coming out of that camp. There was also this I thought was pretty funny. Ake set into a wager playing against Attach and Octane, as he says, at Zuma, you might need to do some VOD review with our co-hosts. And, well, as you can see in the background, this is the M8A1. And as Octane says, hang on a second, there's an M8 in the screenshot. What's going on there? This gun is meant to be banned in the CDL rules. I don't really think it should be. It's a marksman rifle. When we were going through that M15 8-gun meta drama, or 1-gun meta with 8 of them on the map, I don't think that would have been the case with the M8, and as Ake says, I've only got one class, the only gun that I was familiar with, and here he is, a screenshot. I mean, Ake's just, he doesn't miss, does he? From Black Ops 2, he pulls out the full sail screenshot, of course, and they made that comeback on the Express Search and Destroy. Ake's is never going to miss an opportunity to get an OpTic roast in. Speaking of roast, it was Thanksgiving yesterday, but we also did get some streamed practice as well, and it wasn't just for one of the guys on FaZe. The entire team turned the streams on. We had Simp, we had Drazah against Cloud9 they played, we had Abuzah turn the stream on as well when they played up against Boston later on, we even had 04 turn the stream on as well. So this I thought was really great to see. Of course, it's been a key talking point over the last few days. Who is going to stream their practice, who isn't? OpTic generally have done. We saw Formal say yesterday that Dashy was maybe of the opinion that JP's stream was taking a little bit too much bandwidth away from them when they were playing Thieves. But in general, I don't expect the streams to stop immediately. They may well get phased down over time. Once the CDL starts in a couple of weeks, who knows? But it's always good to see some of this early practice, especially because FaZe, they played that 75k tournament the other day. It didn't go especially well for them, right? They came, top 6? They made it to the Sunday, better than Thieves, but after that didn't really go to plan. So where are FaZe? How do we rate this team as it stands? It's pretty difficult to, because after the tournament the other day, you might well have argued our Thieves are terrible, top 8, they're going to be nowhere near, and look, who knows what happens when the season starts, but they played OpTic in a scrim a couple of days back, and they 5-0'd them, right? So anything can still happen. It is only practice at the end of the day. The results were as follows. So they 8-0'd Cloud9, it was a clean 8-0. Beat them in the hard points, beat them in the overloads that they played. So, we are now down to a pretty straightforward 5 hard points, 3 overload, and nearly said control, but that is the setup. Whereas for some time they were scrimming on 6 and 4. Now it's just 5 and 3 as it has traditionally been. That keeps the scrim sets slightly easier for the players, which is fair enough. but also maybe in due course we can add some new maps in. Season 1 is going to bring a fair few new ones that may or may not be viable. We'll see what the CDL do in due course. They then played Boston, and this one was 6-2. They won the hardpoints 4-1 and 2-1 in the overloads. So interesting to see where those teams kind of line up, because I think Boston, the first few days, a number of their players individually looked really good. You had big highlights coming out of Cammy, big highlights out of Snoopy. We know that Purge and, of course, Nasty as well. Purge and Snoopy, great duo at times last year. Nasty's coming over from that Surge team where he made all those grand finals. So some optimism about Boston, I think, because, look, let's not forget they were 3rd at last year's World Championship. They beat Thieves in a couple of big series last season, and to me, the Nasty upgrade is there for Awakening. So, you know, I'm excited to see what Boston do. Again, are they going to be competitive week in, week out? Probably not, but are they still going to have some big upset results this season? I think yes, and maybe they can even be better on average than they were last year. But FaZe getting some scrims in, they finished, what, 14-2 on the day, which is pretty impressive, all things considered. This was one of those clips, actually. They're playing at hardpoint here on Scar, and they're up 239-185, so relatively competitive affair. Simp gets a couple of shots in here onto what looks like Purge. He gets shot in the back, spins round and absolutely guns Nasty. So, yeah, I don't know. He got absolutely slammed in that one, I can't lie. I don't really know how he managed to miss all those shots. Maybe he was dropping down or something, and I don't really know. Anyway, Simp was pretty surprised that he managed to win that gunfight for sure, and they went on to win the series in pretty comfortable fashion. So that's what's been happening in scrims over the last couple of days. As we know, we also saw OpTic play Thieves, then they went on to play Gentlemates. There was a bit of talk about this actually, and Dashy has certainly got a new favourite word. So I'll share this clip, then we'll talk about the other clip that I'm going to share, which is Shotzzy talking about what's been happening with Scrap over these last few days, opinions on gentlemen's agreements, what needs to change, or maybe what doesn't need to change at all.
White wall. White wall, Purge. Oh, shit, nasty. They're taking it. They're taking last guy.
Ticket.
God, nasty.
Ernie was baiting today. Fucking kid, bro. I'm telling you, I don't get it.
Especially if there's only
Fucking retard, bro. He's going in game chat, thinks he's good at the game. You know what I mean? Shooting bodies.
I don't know how it
stand this kid, bro.
With the CDL players, but back when I was playing,
One's in the back.
there were players that you.
It's fine though. It wasn't a damage day today. It was
they wouldn't throw tacticals, but online they would.
it was a
I
loser
don't know
skew.
if it's because
Today was loser skew, bro.
out of the crowd, if they're just focusing on the.
Yeah,
But-
they just need to make changes. If
And
it's gonna
I
be
kind of
in,
disagree with like Scrappy. I'm not gonna lie. Like Simon takes the death out of S&D because like if anything it adds more death. Am I tripping for saying that? Because let me give you examples.
It does kind of
Let me-
restrict. It does kind of.
Let me give you an example. Yeah, exactly. Because if you know a guy's sniping an angle and he's been doing it over and over and over, like for example, like Brandon. Okay, I wish they were streaming because maybe you could get their comments. But like Brandon on Scar, Brandon sniped the mid fucking ticket twice, and he killed the guy both times in the doorway. Right. The next round they go about like their next defense, they have to go about how the fuck they're gonna kill Brandon. Right. They either leave him or they second guess and just like ape up different bomb site. Whereas if there's no snipers, he doesn't have to second guess anything. It's just like, okay, let's just bang out mid ticket. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's like you're actually thinking now.
They just gotta make some changes.
That's
like,
just me though.
Right
like,
now, anyone can.
That's fucking tripping. Huh?
They just gotta make changes because right now anyone can pick up a sniper and be godlike.
Oh no, definitely. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, an ideal situation is like the sniper having like way less aim assists, like how it was in Black Ops 4. Like that, trust me, if we could get it to that point, that'd be like the best scenario. But even that,
like there was like you could tell who could actually snipe. Like there was only a few like great snipers.
Simp,
like
Dashy,
Dave Patty. That fucker was insane.
Who?
Dave Patty.
Oh, he was actually good.
Bro, he's the best sniper.
Dave Patty.
The one thing to understand about Shotzzy is that he left a dying esports to come to Call of Duty. Now, Halo revived after Shotzzy left, but it's now back where it effectively was several years ago. Every 5-6 years, the Halo scene reaches the lowest of the low, and many of the players come to Call of Duty. Then it has a bit of a spark and a revival, and then the cycle continues yet again. But Shotzzy experienced that in Halo and recognizes if there's nobody watching it, then there is no scene. And that's clearly recognizable in Call of Duty as well, that on the years where things are better, it's better for the scene, the players end up getting paid more, the content does better, the Twitch streams are delivering more money, all that type of stuff. So Shotzzy, I think, has the right mentality here. He agrees, yeah, the sniper is very good. It's arguably overpowered. It may be better if there was less aim assist on it, as Merc, of course, also proposes. But does that prevent it from being used as it stands? Not necessarily. Would it be ideal if it had less aim assist and it was a pure game of just skill at that point with no aim assist at all, as it has been in some Call of Duties back in the day? Yeah, I would also promote that idea. But does it mean it has to go necessarily? Look, Scrap made this point about sniping taking the depth out of search and destroy, and I mentioned this at the time that I don't really see the argument from Scrap's side, and I agree more with Shotzzy's take as to actually there is more to think about. I just think that the players, Nadeshot made this point, that the players that haven't played with snipers over the last few years, and to be fair, Scrap hasn't played in that environment. They first got banned really in Cold War, because in Cold War they were very good. Now even then, were they so powerful they should have been banned? I still don't think so, because how many would you have seen per team? You'd still probably only have seen one per team anyway. The smokes were broken in that game, so they decided to ban the snipers in Cold War. But after that, we expected them to come back with Vanguard, and, well, they were going to ban them initially, then they kind of did bring them back. But really, in Scrap's whole time playing, since, of course, Modern Warfare 2, we've not really used the snipers at all. So Scrap has been used to search and destroy that doesn't involve snipers. So, it's almost Infinite Warfare did have snipers, but if you guys remember Infinite Warfare Search and Destroy, it was an absolute bang out. It was just TDM. You would run 4B, 4A, and that was the way that it played a lot of the time, because the way the maps were designed and the jetpacks and all these other factors. That is kind of how Search has gone over the last few years. Would you say there is much depth in Search and Destroy as it stands over the last few seasons? There is a reason why I am very much vehemently against having COD as only Search and Destroy, as some people have proposed over time, because if we were, we would just be the worst version of Counter-Strike ever. Like, Counter-Strike is only Search and Destroy, but it has immense depth, and a large part of the immense depth in Counter-Strike, they call it diffuse in CS, but effectively Search and Destroy, is the AWP, the sniper. The game would not be the same. Counter-Strike would not be what it is without the AWP. It's a defining feature of that game. The game would not play the same without it. Counter-Strike would have never become what it became without the AWP, without the sniper. And it's the same in COD, right? Like, the actual trajectory and the history of Call of Duty, to some degree, is the history of the sniper rifle. It is a key component of all of the early games, COD 4, especially Modern Warfare 2. That was COD for a long time. That was OpTic and FaZe for a long time, was sniping montages, right? Trick shots and all that stuff. And it's been the same story in competitive for a large time as well. So the sniper is in many ways synonymous with what's made Call of Duty Call of Duty. So the fact that it's been out of the game for several years, I think the players that have gone through that process and have experienced without it, they know Search and Destroy without it. But they're basically playing Infinite Warfare Search and Destroy, where we're just bashing out a bomb site with no concern at all. Because if there's a guy sitting on a heady with an M15 and three of you fly around the corner, what's he going to do? But if he's got a sniper, he can pick one and back away to the next point, which means you've got to think, as Shotzzy describes, about how you deal with that. Do I pull out a sniper? Do we simply avoid that lane? The player using the sniper also has to decide, okay, this round I was at B, are they going to go B again, or should I rotate? Should I go mid? Should I go A? It's round 11. Should I put the sniper away? Because if I find myself in a 1 versus 1 situation, it's going to be more challenging. So, I think there's more to think about, and definitely agree with Shotzzy's perspective on this one. Hopefully that continues. And just before we close out, wanted to mention this. So the Frag Cup 5 qualifiers are, well, it's cracking on, but basically over the last few days, a load of teams have qualified in various ways for this tournament, a number of names that you will recognize. And I think everything kicks off today. So these are the invited teams for the tournament, and pretty much Scump, Zuma, Methods, and Bows, they picked players to invite based on the qualifiers or whatever. So Zuma has some familiar names there. That's also true for the other teams. these are the rosters. So not full teams as we saw in the CDL thing, which is expected. Shotzzy, Huke, CleanX, Insight, Simp, 04, Dashy, Merc. That's really interesting, actually, to see if Mercules is just going to do it again, no matter what. ReeaL, JoeDeceives, Nero, Craze, Lurqxx, Abuzah, Drazah. Then a number of other very notable teams with also pro players on them too. So that's happening tonight. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.